AITA for leaving a vacation I planned for my GF after her friends came along. I am not the OOP. OOP is grad tattoo, 9009. Original post posted February 7, 2023. My GF, Sarah, 29, and I, M, 28, have been dating for 5 years. And I wanted to go on a vacation with her to celebrate. I planned the trip for several months. Of course I shared my plans with her, and decided on skiing, snowboarding, other winter activities in CO. The activities seemed perfect, and I was looking forward to this for months because I wanted to propose to her at the end of the trip. 5 days before the trip, Sarah dropped the ball on me that she invited 2 of her friends to meet her there. I was upset because I wanted to spend one-to-one time with Sarah for our anniversary. I feel like it was plain and clear that this was a trip for just us. Even though I expressed my concerns, Sarah insisted that her friends already made plans to come and won't back out. I decided to accept this because there was no way for me to force her friends to not come. I wish I fought more on this. I figured we could make some changes to our plans, and I would still be able to propose to her privately. Sarah essentially blew me off for her friends and we didn't get any private time. After 3 days of being in second place, I decided to leave the trip and head home. I told Sarah why I was leaving, and she was upset. She told her friends about my decision, and I was ganged up on. They said we were all having a great time. She thinks I'm being a jerk for making her pick between her friends and me, even though her friends weren't invited in the first place. I never had personal issues with her friends prior to this trip. I never made Sarah pick between me or her friends because everyone needs friends outside of a relationship. I'm at home now and thinking about everything. I have a day to myself before Sarah comes home, so at least I get to relax a bit. Sarah and her friends think I'm overreacting and think I ruined the trip. I think Sarah was disrespectful and rude to me by ruining the purpose of this trip and having her friends gang up on me. AITA for leaving a vacation I planned for my GF after her friends came along. Edit. This was a planned, anniversary, romantic trip. I was clear that we have plans for just us 2. We've been on other anniversary trips together without her friends there. We did discuss marriage beforehand, so it's not like a proposal wouldn't been out of the blue. Relevant comments. PIXP85 commented. Info. Is it possible she knew you were going to propose and did this intentionally to avoid it? OOP replied. That is what worries me. We discussed marriage beforehand and everything seemed great. This was a planned anniversary, romantic trip, so the nature of it was plain and clear. Dubious people pleaser commented. NTA, does she do this often? Does she pick time with her friends over time with you? Balance is fine, but she needs to pick you for more than things like your birthday. Does she often make you feel like the odd one out when hanging with her friends? A good partner tries to include you. Does she often railroad you like this? She was so wrong in all the things she did, but that's not the big red flag. People make mistakes and learn from them. Her denying that she did anything wrong is the return the ring behavior. She will never change her ways so long as she sees nothing wrong with what she is doing. If you do dump her, then she will start crying and claim she will change. She will change for a month and snap right back. OOP replied. You're unfortunately right. I never had personal beef against her friends or family, but I was lying to myself for years. She has picked her friends over me, when I wish there was more balance between us. I never canceled plans with her just to hang out with my friends, but she has done that to me more than once. This trip was just the biggest stunt she pulled with her friends. OOP is voted NTA. Update 1 and 2, made in the same post. Minor update. My friends are here at the house and they have been running potential interference. just in case her friends try to bombard and harass me. They've been great and I'm so glad to have them. Minor update number 2. None of Sarah's friends came by the house or harassed me last night. Which is good. Sarah hasn't come home yet. I figured out what I want to say and have it written out. Update 3 posted February 9, 2023. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone who sent me kind words and encouraging private messages. I decided that I wanted to end this entire relationship. I packed my important belongings, passport, clothes, and arranged with my best friend to crash at his apartment until I can find my own. Usually when small issues happen in a relationship, it ties into a bigger issue of that relationship. The main reason why I decided to break up is because I realized that her friends will always be closer to her than me. Sarah has favored her friends over me and blown off some of our plans for her friends more than once. I was lying to myself for years because I didn't want to face reality yet. I had hoped she would change. But this trip really opened my eyes that I will always be in third place to her. I expressed my feelings multiple times. And Sarah promised she would change. And she didn't. Sarah came home late yesterday. I said I have a lot to get off my chest and I want to get through my notes before she talks or tries to interrupt me. The first question I asked Sarah was how she thought the trip went. She said we all had fun and it was memorable. I shouldn't have to feel like the third wheel in my own relationship, especially on a trip that I planned. My next question was, why did you invite your friends in the first place? You knew this was an anniversary trip for us. She talked about the trip with her friends since the beginning, and they never been to CO. She thought it would be a good idea to allow them to come just so they can have fun in CO with us. I followed up with my lack of knowledge of her friends coming along until days before. It's one thing if they came and did their own activities, but it's another thing that every activity became a group activity. I signed up for a monogamous, not poly relationship. My last question was, did you know that I was going to propose to you? Quote, Sarah said she didn't know at all. The thought never occurred to Sarah that I was going to ask. She claimed that she wouldn't have invited her friends to come along if she knew. But I responded that it would ruin the surprise if I told you. Sarah begged me to stay with her and believes we can work everything out. She didn't want me to throw 5 years away after this one bad trip. I listened to her promises to change for years regarding her friends. But nothing happened. I ultimately left Sarah with this. It's clear that there isn't enough room in your heart for your BF and your friends. As much as I love Sarah, I can't stay in a relationship where I'm not respected enough. I left Sarah in the house by herself and I drove off to my friend's place. I'll figure out how to get my name off the lease and I'll plan to get the rest of my belongings. As for the ring, I will return it this weekend. Oop replied in a comment. I had much more information in my post, but the character limit was too high. Part of the reason why she stayed back was because I said I wanted to go home alone and think. I know that couples shouldn't storm off after a fight, but it was kinda important to separate for a bit to gather my thoughts. Maybe things would have turned out differently if we left together? I am not the OOP being marked as concluded at this time, as the OOP has ended things with Sarah, but some Redditors hope to have another update. I still can't believe how you can invite your friends to your 5th anniversary trip and never even ask your partner and spring it on them at the last moment. I honestly wish his Sarah stumbles upon the original AITA post. How could a person be clueless as to bring their friends unannounced, uninvited to a romantic getaway? There's a small update https://www.reddit.com/user/gradtattoo90009/comments/113give/update/ Springing the news about the two friends 5 days before the trip is bad. But not as bad as that one update with the vacation where the mother-in-law showed up to the airport last minute after being told by the wife multiple times she was not invited. So she was talking to her friends about them coming from the beginning but only sprang it on Oop a few days before? Yeah, no, that's pretty manipulative. Also, I can't get over how she stayed when Oop left. If my partner left a holiday early because she was upset, I wouldn't be able to stay and keep enjoying myself. This girl doesn't sound ready for an adult relationship. Her boyfriend leaves a trip that he planned earlier. How do you think it went? Quote, "It was fun and memorable." Amazing. Yes. Memorable in that it ended the relationship. I hope inviting her friends was worth it. Why is this posted on BORU again? I read this just a few days ago. Good for him. I love that Sarah knows she not just ruined her relationship but engagement blocked herself. How did the trip go? It was fun and memorable. Quote, "I want to break up with you. You can't break up with me 'cause of one bad trip." Quote, "Pick one." She acts so shocked. If what Oop said was true, she knew this was an issue for him multiple times in the past. Sure. Maybe he was a doormat and told her after the fact that he really was fine with it just to smooth things over. Either way, how could anyone be planning a getaway with someone for months, go through all the planning, and then last minute say, "No biggie, I'm going to invite my friends"? That woman is so dense. He shouldn't have had to tell her it was inappropriate. I'm guessing her friends were all single and she was the first one in a serious relationship. She 100% wasn't ready to settle down. Proposal, marriage wouldn't have changed any of that. He would still have been a +1 to her friends. Honestly, even when my husband and I were just dating, we only wanted trips alone. When we did go on trips with friends, we usually ended up wishing we went alone to begin with. It's a good thing he didn't propose. Part of the reason why she stayed back was because I said I wanted to go home alone and think. Just when I thought Oop actually understood who she was, he goes and says something like this. She stayed because Oop paid for her trip and all the people that mattered to her were there. Not to give Oop space. She came back like nothing was wrong and said it was a good trip and a memorable experience. Reddit has me expecting her to secretly be in a relationship with both friends and some random other person, and for them to all somehow wind up in jail. Having good friends who support you is cool. Putting your friends first while in a relationship is not cool. It's even less cool when your boyfriend plans a romantic getaway for two and you decide to invite your friends. Dude made the right decision. Her friends are always gonna be more important to her. The wildest part of this to me is that in the first minor update he said he had all his friends over to run inference because he was genuinely worried that Sarah's friends would show up and harass him. It seems so crazy to me that would even be something to have to worry about. Like, no matter how bad a fight I got in with I can't imagine letting my friends just show up and start ganging up on them. Well, that felt extremely hasty. But as always, the op knows a lot more about their relationship than they can put in the post. She didn't want me to throw 5 years away after this one bad trip. Sweet gaslighter. You threw it all away. Good on Oop. Better late than never. Hang on to those friends of yours. There's another update. https www.reddit.com/user/gradtattoo90096comments/113give/update/ UTM source equals share and UTM medium equals iOS app and UTM name equals iOS SMF. Have been 4 years in an abusive relationship, in which I was always below her friends. It devastates the way that you are seen as a last resort when it concerns with hanging out and conflicts in general.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.